it's time for us to get together and enjoy the lovely words and phrases of the English language. With you every Sunday live from 2, with lots of fun. And all the words and phrases of the English language. Join with Mr. Duncan on the live chat and discover all the words and phrases of the English language. Learn together and have fun. Listen and laugh, it really can be done. Your learning journey has just begun. Join with Mr. Duncan on the live chat and discover all the words and phrases of the English language. Learn together and have fun.
We have rain, we have grey clouds, we have dampness everywhere, except for in my studio. Here we go again, we are back together once more on a Sunday afternoon. This is English Addict coming to you live and direct from the birthplace of the English language. You know where it is, I know where it is, we all know where it is. Come on, Mr. Duncan. Stop wasting my time. Get on with it.
Join with Mr. Duncan on the live chat. Learn together and have fun.
Fun. That is the reason why we are here. That is why we are all together, right?
Join with Mr. Duncan on the live chat. Learn together and have fun.
Okay, do it twice then. See if I care. How bizarre is that? I don't know what happened then. Very strange. The technology has taken over. Finally, the machines have risen. Hi, everybody. As I was saying a few moments ago, this is Mr. Duncan in England. How are you today? Are you okay? Fellow Earthlings. The population of this tiny little planet floating around in space. I hope you are having a good day today. My name is Mr. Duncan. I talk about the English language. I like English very much. You might say, I might say, everyone might say, or they might not, that I am an English addict. I love English very much. It is a language that lots and lots of people are using for various reasons. As I mentioned last week, English is what I like to refer to as a bridge. It is a way of crossing over to the other side where you might discover new things, new adventures, new experiences perhaps, and of course you will learn things at the same time from other people. That is one of the reasons why I love the English language. It is something we can all use to bring us together. However, of course, in this crazy world of ours, not everyone can agree all the time Today we are looking at a very big subject and one that is being discussed. In fact, it rarely goes away. We are looking at freedom today, a very big topic. I suppose when we think of freedom, we often think of expressing the way we feel. And quite often we look at feelings and beliefs. So these are two very interesting words. The topic we will be talking about today is freedom, but we often talk about our feelings and also our beliefs. The freedom to express the things we feel and the things we believe. It is, I suppose, something we all take for granted. Many of us around the world have more freedom than other people. So it would be fair to say that there are people living on this tiny little planet floating around in space. There are people who have fewer rights, fewer chances to express the way they feel, their thoughts, their opinions, their beliefs. So it has become once again a big topic around the world. Yesterday there was a very big rally taking place in the centre of London. Lots of people expressing their opinion, their feelings. A certain group of people had one opinion. Another group was also there, expressing the opposite opinion. And that, I suppose, is what freedom is. Freedom is the chance to express how you feel. I think that is the most basic way of describing all freedom. So we often think of freedom to move around, but these days we are often distracted sometimes by the subject of freedom of speech, being able to say things, especially in this rather strange day and age where, of course, we have the internet, social media. Social media gives us all the opportunity to express ourselves behind the keyboard. And sometimes, in fact, these days, if you go on to Twitter, yes, I still call it Twitter, by the way. For me, it's still Twitter. I know a lot of people call it other things, but if you go on there, quite often you will find lots of strong opinions being expressed, quite often anonymously. So it is strange that nowadays, and I suppose it is also something that has come along with modern technology, it is easier for us to express our opinions, and quite often we can do it anonymously behind the keyboard. However, if you are a person who wants to show your face and express your opinion, then lots of other factors come into existence because you are allowing other people to know who you are. You are expressing the way you feel about something publicly, as opposed to behind a computer screen. So freedom these days, freedom of speech, expression, they all come in various shapes and sizes. And of course, growing up before the age of the computer, very few people expressed the way they felt publicly. We would often keep our opinions and our feelings to ourselves. There was no social media. When I was growing up, we had no computers, no social media. Most people would sit in social situations, maybe with their friends or relatives, and they would talk about the way they felt. But normally, those feelings would not go any further. Only when a person becomes, or when they became politically active, would those opinions become public. However, these days, things have changed a lot because it is much easier for us to express the way we feel, especially through social media. But I still think there is an opportunity for all of us to express the way we feel, publicly, privately, to our friends, relatives, on the internet. And that, unfortunately, presents a paradox. How do you give freedom whilst at the same time controlling or monitoring or policing what people are saying? It is a very strange situation, and that is what we are looking at today. I know it's a big one, isn't it? It's a very big feeling. Here we go then. It is the 14th of September. Now, can I just say, I can't believe already we are halfway through September. People are already talking about Christmas. Can everyone please stop talking about Christmas? It's too early. There is a TV channel here in the UK already showing Christmas movies. Please, it's too early. It's only mid-September. Please don't start talking about Christmas just yet. It is, in my opinion, too early to start talking about Christmas. Apparently, it is 100 days. 100 days until Christmas. And I do think it is still too early to talk about that particular thing. Hello to the live chat. Of course, it would not be English Addict without you there expressing your thoughts and opinions on the live chat. Who was first? Let's have a look, shall we? Oh, very interesting. The champion is back at the top. Vitas. Well done, Vitas. You are number 1 today on the live chat. Also in second place, Beatrice. Hello to you as well. We also have Florence. Flower is here today. Hello, Flower. It feels as if it's been a long time since you were last here. Hello, Maurizio. Umu. Hello to Umu Kitchen. It's very nice to see you here as well. Mohammed Jassim. Also Johnson. Paco. We also have... This is an interesting question from a very unusual name. It's me, Daddy's Princess. Hello to you. Hello. Can I learn English from watching this? Can I learn English? Is it possible for me to learn English here or not? That is a very interesting question. I can answer the question very easily. Yes, you can learn English. Listening, watching, and of course you can have live captions as well on the screen. During my live stream you can watch English captions, and then of course later you can watch this again with captions in your own language later on. Isn't that amazing? So yes, there is an opportunity for everyone. If you are watching now, if you are learning English, you want to improve your English, this is a good way of doing it. The reason is, it's live. This is happening right now at this very moment in time. I am standing here in my little studio in England talking to you. Hello also to Neji. It's a very interesting name. I don't know why you have that name, but I'm sure you have your own story. Who else is here today? Wow, it's already very busy on the live chat. Christina is here. Hello, Christina. I suppose I should ask, where in the world are you today? Christina. Christina is a very interesting person in the fact that she does travel a lot, quite a lot. So hello, Christina. Nice to see you here. Oh, I haven't seen Lewis yet. Is Lewis here? Oh, yes, there he is. I've just noticed that we do have the one, the only, Lewis Mendez is here today. Hello, Lewis. Nice to see you back as well. And, oh my goodness, I can't believe it. We also have Pedro Belmont is here as well. Claudia. Hello, Claudia. Nice to see you back as well. Goodness me, it is a very busy one today. I have a feeling a lot of people are watching at the moment. Can you see what is happening to my microphone? I don't know why today my microphone is doing some very strange things. You might notice that it is moving as I'm talking to you. It is just a slight technical problem. So if my microphone suddenly vanishes, you know why. In fact, I think for some people that might be a good thing. Who knows? Hello, Antonio. Nice to see you back here as well. Very nice, in fact. English Addict is here today. We are looking at a big subject, the subject of freedom. It is a big one. It is a very big subject indeed. I have been asked if I can show my video in Italy. Here it is then, just for you. And there it was for those who wanted to see it. My recent trip to Italy, it was very nice indeed. Very lovely, in fact. English Addict is with you today. I have fixed my microphone. Hopefully it won't be moving again. So if it suddenly disappears, you know why. Here we go then. Lots of people already on the live chat. Flower says, it has been a long time. I was in Morocco for more than 1 month and I tried to get away from all the social media to enjoy time with my family and forget all of the things I have been through this year. That is a very good idea. I think more and more people are trying their best to get away, not only from their normal life, but also all the noise. When I talk about noise, I mean the chatter, the conversations, the opinions. Everyone these days wants to express the way they feel, especially here on the internet. It has become a very big thing, not only here in England, but also around the world as well. A lot of people are getting pretty angry about all sorts of things, and that's what we are looking at today. We are going to look at the subject of freedom. I think this is an interesting subject, and it is one I've covered before, but I have to say I was thinking a couple of weeks ago, in fact before I went on holiday, I had an idea that I wanted to cover the subject of freedom again on one of my live streams. So, guess what? We are doing that today. Freedom is something we often take for granted. If you take something for granted, it means you don't think about it very much. You just accept that that thing is with you. You never think of how valuable it actually is. So the word freedom is a noun that names the state of having no restrictions. To be unrestricted, without limits. And of course there are many ways of expressing freedom. You can walk out of your house on a sunny day. You might visit the countryside, and you are standing there. You might find yourself in a situation where you are standing amongst the trees, and all you can hear is the sound of nature around you, and you feel freedom. So that is an experience. It is something you are actually feeling. I think freedom can be emotional. I think freedom is an emotional reaction as well. The feeling of having freedom, the feeling of being free. Maybe if you work hard in your job, perhaps you are looking forward to your freedom during your summer holiday. You see? So freedom can be expressed in many ways. Also, emotionally as well. I enjoy my moments of freedom from work. That is a very good example of expressing freedom as an emotional state. To restrict. So first of all, we are going to look at some of the opposites of freedom. Because to enjoy freedom, you have to also enjoy those, or endure those moments of difficulty. So to restrict is the opposite. You have freedom, you have restrictions, those things that might take away some of your freedom. The action of preventing movement is a restriction, something that might hold you back, prevent you from having your freedom. Restrict. I suppose it isn't exactly the opposite of freedom, but it is pretty darn close. A restriction is often used to stop something. We restrict something. We block something. It is often seen as a form of control or prevention. I suppose a good example would be if you were trying to avoid people becoming ill during a certain period of time. You know what I'm talking about. You might restrict certain freedoms. You might tell people to avoid contact with each other. You might say that you must stay at home and isolate yourself. So restrictions are often used to prevent something from happening, sometimes as a way of ensuring people are safe, and sometimes because they want to prevent people from having conversations or expressing opinions. So it can be used in many different ways. So freedom is the unrestricted state of something. Quite often we view freedom as having no restrictions. You are free. I suppose when you think about our daily lives, we are free to walk out of our houses and walk around and enjoy being free. So you might say that freedom is the thing we all have on our daily activities. When we are doing general things, we go out, we enjoy our freedom. We are free to move around. Generally, to be without restrictions is to have freedom. You are not restricted. You have no controls preventing you from doing what you want to do. Again, these are the basic principles of freedom. But as we will find out later, they are not absolute. They are not complete. Freedom sometimes is not given. To hold back is to restrict. This can relate to movement through a place or the carrying out of a certain activity. So to restrict something is to hold back or block. For example, you might be driving along the road one day and you come to an area that is blocked. Maybe there has been a traffic accident, or maybe the road is being repaired. The traffic will be restricted. You cannot go that way. It is stopping you from moving forwards. So to restrict can be to hold back, block, prevent. You are stopping something from happening. So this can relate to movement through a place or the carrying out of a certain activity. We see freedom as something that allows us to do whatever we want. Sometimes. The word freedom relates to many aspects of social life. The way in which something is done, for example. Freedom, your actions, the things you can do, the places you can go, the things you can say. They are all part of freedom. It derives, of course, from free. So freedom is the state of being free, unrestricted. You are able to do what you want. So it derives from free as the state of being free to do what wants. The state of being at liberty. You have liberty, you have freedom, you are unencumbered. Now there is an interesting word. To be unencumbered means you are not held back. Nothing is restricting you. You are unencumbered. And that is a very interesting word. It is one that is used quite often when we are talking about freedom of movement or freedom to express, freedom to do the things you want to do. To be unencumbered means to be free. You are allowed to do the things you want to do. Sometimes. Freedom can be stated in many ways, and I think this is where the subject becomes very interesting, because these days we often talk about freedom. In fact, I think sometimes we use the word freedom without actually thinking much about the actual word itself. It is something we just say almost as a response, almost as a reflex. Even if we have lots and lots of freedom, even if you live in a country that is very liberal, you might still say that your freedom is being taken away. Some people might say it is subjective. First of all, we have boundaries. Well, boundaries, when we talk about boundaries, we talk about borders, rules, restrictions, law enforcement, attitude, acceptance. So all of those words link to freedom, but also the boundaries in which you can do those things. So think of a wall going right around a certain area. You might say that that is the boundary, and within that boundary is the freedom to say, to do, to think, to express. So the borders, the rules, the restrictions, laws. You might say that laws are a form of boundary. A boundary in law. The things you are allowed to do and the things you are not allowed to do. Then we have something that I think is very interesting, the freedom paradox. I don't know if you've heard of this, but there is a paradox that comes with freedom. Freedom is often guided or controlled, which of course means that it isn't freedom. Freedom is something that allows you to do whatever you want, to have complete freedom. However, in many situations, in many countries, you will find that freedom is controlled. Sometimes the control is tight, sometimes not so tight. Tight control means freedom is restricted in many different ways. So freedom is often guided or controlled, which of course brings around a very strange paradox, because the paradox of freedom and controlling freedom is who decides how much freedom a person can have. This brings about the paradox of what is allowed and what isn't. So what can you do and what can't you do? It is a very fine line between those two things, the things you can do and the things you can't do. So freedom is not absolute. Freedom is not given without any conditions. It is often controlled in some way. It is guided. And that, as they say, is the paradox of freedom. You have freedom, yet it is still controlled in some way. Freedom is rarely absolute. Now, I love this word, absolute. When we say something is absolute, it means it is complete. It covers everything. So you think of freedom as the ability to do whatever you want. However, that isn't true, because freedom is not absolute. None of us, including me, by the way, none of us have absolute freedom. We have freedom that we feel we should have, while at the same time there are laws in place that stop us from doing certain things. So freedom is rarely absolute. There are boundaries to freedom in all societies, including here in the UK. So in the United Kingdom, there are controls, boundaries, things you can do, freedoms you have. And of course, you have restrictions, things you cannot do, things that are controlled for various reasons. Moving on. There are many different types of freedom. When we talk about freedom, we often talk about freedom of certain things we want to do, certain behaviour. For example, these are the most common types of freedoms that we think about. Whenever we think about freedom, we often think of these things, and I will go through them one by one. First of all, freedom of movement is expected. It is a right. Most of us would agree that we should be able to have freedom of movement. If I want to visit a certain place, I should be able to do it. I should have freedom of movement. Then, of course, you have freedom of thought. A person thinks their ideas, their feelings, their thoughts, the things that are going around and around in their head. Of course, you can also express your thoughts as well. So if the thoughts are in your head, then there is nothing anyone can do. Can you tell what I'm thinking about at the moment? No, you can't. You can't tell what I'm thinking about. It's just as well, really. So thoughts. Freedom of ideas. So again, ideas start here, but quite often they will come out here or here. Freedom of ideas, things you think that you want to express. An idea is often something we think and then express. The only way that a person will know about your idea is if you express it. You have to express your idea. It has to be said. It has to be written. It has to be sung. Maybe you want to sing your idea. Then, of course, we have beliefs. Oh my goodness, Mr. Duncan. You do realise that that is a big subject in itself. That one word covers many things. Beliefs. One of the wonderful things about human beings is we all have our own points of view, beliefs, opinions. In fact, I often say that the one thing we all have in common is our individuality. Each person sees the world in a slightly different way. We formulate the world up here in our mind, the way we feel about things, the way we see things. It is all going on up here. Your beliefs, the things you feel, the things you think. And of course, this word covers many, many different aspects of human behaviour. And then, of course, we have expression. Expression is to show your feelings. You are showing how you feel. You are giving your opinion. You are showing how you feel about a certain thing, a certain topic, a certain subject. How you feel. Your expression. And of course, there are other ways of showing how you feel through creativity. Creativity is a form of expression. Painting, art, poetry, anything like that, to be honest. And then, of course, we have the big one. This is the one a lot of people are talking about at the moment. Freedom of speech. What is freedom of speech? The things you can say, but also the things you can write as well. As I said at the start of today's live stream, these days, because of technology, it is possible for all of us to express the way we feel. So not just through speaking, but also through writing as well. Through social media, for example, which at the moment is the place where many people go if they want to express their feelings. So let's look at these one by one to make sure we understand them completely. Freedom of movement. Freedom within a certain place, a certain part, a certain area, district, nation. Some people might even say the planet, the little blue planet floating in space where we all live and survive. Freedom to travel outside one's town, city or country are often expressed as freedom of movement, the freedom to go somewhere else. Of course, there are borders all around the world. There are parts of the world that have different rules, different regulations, different controls over what a person can say, who can visit that country, and the rules that apply when you are in that place as well. Then we have thought. What am I thinking at the moment? I'm thinking about my tea tonight because Mr. Steve is making lentil dal. So that is what I was thinking about just a few moments ago. I was thinking about my lovely meal that I'm having tonight. Freedom to think, to express your thoughts. Freedom to learn and expand one's intellect. I always say that there is no substitute for experience and knowledge. Those two things go together perfectly. There is no such thing as a bad experience in life. When I was young, I did all sorts of awful jobs, terrible jobs, jobs that I never want to do again. However, all of those things gave me certain experiences which were useful. They were very useful experiences. So I always say to anyone who is young, anyone who is starting out on their journey in life, always try to find as many experiences as you can. Jobs, learning. In fact, a lot of people say that they learnt more after they left school than while they were there. Very strange. So it can happen in your life. You might go through your whole education learning certain things. However, after that education ends, you go out into the big wide world. And I have to say, from my own experience, there is no such thing as bad experience. Because sometimes those difficult situations can teach you just as much as the happy moments. The ups and downs are equally as important. So the freedom to learn and expand one's intellect, learning. I always think that learning is the one thing that everyone should have access to. By that I mean education, having some form of education, the basic things like reading, writing, understanding other people, and realizing that life quite often is not fair. So all of those things, I suppose, are types of freedom, because you have the chance, you have the opportunity to do those things, to have access to education and information. One of the wonderful things about the internet is that we have the chance, we have the opportunity to discover new things we didn't know before. That is one of the wonderful things about modern technology. We have many opportunities to learn, to find out, to gain information. Then, of course, we have ideas. Ideas to be able to explore other possibilities and solutions to problems. There was a time when it was very hard to express an opinion on anything, especially in areas such as science, scientists, philosophers, people who would try to expand the way human beings thought. They would often be punished, pushed aside. However, freedom to express ideas is why we are all here now, together on the internet. All ideas come from in here, as I said earlier. But there was a time, there was an age where all of those things were pushed back. They were suppressed. Fortunately, that suppression eased off. And that is the reason why we have the world we have now, with all of the wonderful things that we can do, the things we can achieve. You can sit there now watching me on a little screen, somewhere on that little blue dot floating in space. So it is possible nowadays, fortunately, to express your ideas, your thoughts. And that is one of the things that moves humanity forward. There are always new things to discover. Always. Beliefs. Oh, Mr. Duncan, this is a big one. So I'm not expressing my opinion here. I am merely the messenger. I am the messenger bringing this information. So please, please, don't say anything. Your beliefs. To be able to express one's beliefs, a person's thoughts, feelings, opinions, your beliefs are a large part of who you are. It makes your character. It's how you view the world. It's how you interact with other people around you. So you might have your philosophical beliefs. Philosophical beliefs refer to thought. Some people like to expand their mind and look at everything in a different way. You might want to put human behaviour under the microscope and have a close look at it. Not literally, but figuratively. So philosophy is one of those wonderful subjects where there are no rules. And that's one of the reasons why I enjoy philosophy. I like reading about philosophy, thoughts, ideas, opinions. It is endless. And it also makes the world around us more interesting. Then we have social beliefs. What should we do? What can we do? Are there things we should not be allowed to do? So when we talk about social freedom, we are talking about society, the things we should be able to do, the things we should not be able to do. Of course, we have religious freedom. Most countries around the world have religious freedom. You are allowed to express yourself in your own religious belief, whether you have a certain religion or whether you don't have any religion at all. You have the freedom to express it. And then of course, oh dear, political freedom. I could do a whole hour just talking about that. I'm not going to, by the way, but I could if I wanted to. Political freedom. When we talk about politics, of course, we are talking about a person's beliefs, their opinions, their view of the world, the things that they feel should be done, the things that they feel should not be done. Politics. It's a big subject. The freedom to express how you feel. Again, it's a big one. It's a very big subject. But we often talk about political freedom. And that is one of the reasons why in this day and age, everyone has an opinion on something. Even me. So there are various things that I feel strongly about. Most of them are not very important. But there are some, maybe one or two, that I feel strongly about. No, I won't be talking about them today. Then we have freedom of expression, very similar to beliefs, very similar to a person's way of looking at the world. Your expression, the freedom to create through art and text. So freedom to express, freedom to create something, maybe a work of art, maybe a painting, maybe a Banksy. Art has always been used as a form of expression over the years. It's always happened, always. So you might find during certain periods of history, art was used as a way of controlling or promoting a certain type of belief. It did happen, and it did happen a lot. So you might have artistic freedom, poetic freedom, theological freedom, scientific freedom, and of course general opinion on certain topics, certain subjects, certain things that exist. So expression covers all of these things, all of them, every single one. But the big one, of course, is opinion. That is what is happening right now in the world. We all have opinions. And now and again, groups of people will join together and they will share the same point of view. They will share the same opinion. It's happened before. It's happened many times in the past. It's happening now, and it will happen again. They are all types of expression. Then, of course, we have the big one. This is one a lot of people are talking about right now, including on the live chat. Freedom of speech. Oh my goodness. Do I really want to talk about this? Well, I suppose I can really, because of freedom of speech. So I'm going to talk about this because I suppose I have the freedom to do it. I think. The freedom to speak and express thoughts verbally. Freedom of speech quite often refers to the things you say. You might be standing in the street telling everyone around you how you feel about a certain thing. That is your right. You have the right to speak freely. It is your freedom to do it. And everyone has it. Many countries around the world have freedom of speech. However, there are many countries that don't have freedom of speech, or they will control or censor what people say and do. You censor something. You hide, you cover, you don't allow that thing to be expressed in any way, including verbally. So it does happen. The freedom to speak and express thoughts verbally is often referred to as freedom of speech. The freedom to speak and express your thoughts. You talk. You opine. Ah, Mr. Duncan, what does that mean? Well, it basically means you are saying what you think. You are giving your opinion. To opine is to give your opinion, your feelings. You are expressing the way you feel about a certain thing, something you feel strongly about. You express through your opinion. To put forward an opinion, you express yourself in some way. You put forward your feelings. You put forward your thoughts. And of course, if we want to put it simply, you say it. You say how you feel. You say what you think. You say what is on your mind. Maybe there is something you've always wanted to say to someone. To say what you feel is the freedom to express, or the freedom to speak out loud. This area of freedom is one that is often contested. What can one say? The right to speak freely. So in all countries around the world, on that little blue planet that we all live on, floating in space, all countries have certain controls on what you can say. There are rules that are written into law, so you will write these things in law to make sure that the things you say will not harm or hurt anyone else. They will not cause other people to do bad things that might also break the law. So this area of freedom is one that is often contested. To contest something is to try to stop it, or maybe you disagree with that thing. You are trying to prevent that thing from happening or being done. You contest that thing. You are opposing it. So there are people who feel that free speech is wrong. There should be laws. There should be controls. Some people believe that speech and opinions should be completely controlled, depending on where you are in the world, of course. The right to disagree, debate, and protest is often seen as free speech. The freedom to show your anger, your disagreement. To debate is a very interesting thing. So maybe two groups of people will meet together, and then each group will have a representative, and they will stand and they will debate a certain subject. If you go onto YouTube, you will find many debates about all sorts of topics. Religion, equality, those are the two big ones. You express your feelings, you give one's opinion. To give one's opinion is to express how you feel. You say how one feels. A person is expressing how they feel. When we say one, we are meaning us as an individual. One's opinion is a person's own opinion. You express your feelings. You give your opinions. You say how you feel about something. The right to disagree, debate, and of course the big one, protest. Over the past few years, I have noticed it does seem, I'm not sure if it's true or not, but it does feel, personally to me, it does feel as if more and more people are expressing their opinions in large groups through protest. So a person might go out and join another group of people. They will join that group and they will protest together. And in some countries, you have the right to do that. In other countries, you do not. Freedom is controlled using laws and general social rules. So quite often, even if you have freedom, even if you have democracy, where everyone has the opportunity to express how they feel, there are still rules in place. No matter where you live in the world, even if you live in the most liberated place on the planet, you will find there will still be laws and rules controlling those things. The laws which control the expressing of offensive opinions. And again, it's very interesting, subjective. What is offensive to one person might not be offensive to another. So how do you decide? How do you choose what is offensive and what isn't? Normally, it comes from the reaction from those who are offended. So those who speak and those who are offended by what they hear. It is all about the numbers of those who feel that way. So quite often we have this constant battle between those who want to say things and those who don't want to be offended. And that is the ongoing battle. You might say that it is the battle that's going on right now in the world, in many places. The right to express one's opinion often comes into conflict with what can be said. Freedom of speech is the freedom to say what you feel. However, there are laws and rules that say that you can only say certain things. Each nation has its own rules concerning freedom of speech. I know from my own experience, I was living in China for 4 years and I learned all about what happens when you don't have freedom of speech, when the freedom is taken away or heavily controlled. So I remember very clearly all of my experiences. When I first arrived in China, I was told that there are certain rules that I must obey at all times, wherever I am, whoever I am with. These rules must always be followed. One of them, of course, is expressing an opinion on the government, the people in authority, talking about sensitive issues. I was told that I am not allowed to talk about certain topics relating to Chinese politics or things that are happening in or around China. And these things were made very clear to me. Very clear. There are many things I could go into at this point, but I'm not going to. But let's just say there was always someone, somewhere nearby, watching. Always. It never went away. Freedom is seldom given willingly. Now, I think that is true. Maybe you disagree. But from my point of view, and from a lot of people's points of view, they feel that freedom is seldom given willingly. No one gives you freedom. Freedom is something quite often that must be fought for. You must take it. You take your freedom. So in history, most freedoms we now enjoy were actually fought for. We had to fight for those freedoms to be given. Many years of oppression, control. And at some point, people said, no, no more. We have to have our freedom. We need these freedoms to be put into law. So even though there are laws telling you what you can't do and what you can't say, there are lots and lots of laws that also guard your right to freedom. So in history, most freedoms we now enjoy were fought for, or at some point had to be defended. Of course, there are lots and lots of things that we can do, we have the freedom to do, that sometimes come under threat as well. Again, this connects very much with what is happening at the moment in the world. And I think it is true to say, it would be fair to say that most freedoms that we enjoy, most of the rights that we have were not given freely. They had to be fought for. Freedom, of course, can be taken away. You can take away a person's freedom, quite often as punishment. As punishment, a person might lose their freedom. They are incarcerated. That sounds painful. A person who is incarcerated is segregated. They are put into isolation. They are removed from society. They are sent to prison. They are imprisoned. They are put in prison for a crime, something they did wrong. So we often see freedom as something that can be taken away, as a form of punishment. And I want to end on something that is thoughtful and something that a lot of you might agree with. This is a great quote. I may not agree with your opinions, but I will fight to the death for your right to express them. And I think that perfectly expresses the feeling that most people have about freedom. I may not agree with your opinions, but I will fight to the death for your right to express them. What more can you say, really? There isn't much more, to be honest. And that, as they say, is that. A big subject today. I'm sure you all have your own thoughts and opinions about that subject and all of the other things that subject involves. There are lots and lots of other things as well. Can I say a big thank you to the live chat? Thank you very much. Luis Mendez has an opinion about free speech. When billionaires control the TV stations, the radio stations, and I suppose also the newspapers, I think that's what you are suggesting there, Lewis. Their opinions, or the person who works for that person might express their opinion and then they are sacked from their job because their opinion is not the same as the person who owns the TV station or the newspaper or any other form of media. There is a lot of that these days. There is a lot of retaliation taking place. If you work for a company and you have your own opinion on something that might be the opposite to the company, you might find yourself coming into conflict in that situation. You might even lose your job, which of course has happened over recent times. Thank you very much for your company today. It's been a big one, but I've been wanting to talk about this for a while. And I suppose the events that are happening in the world at the moment, in many places around the world, has sort of brought it to the surface. That is the best way of expressing that. Thank you very much for your company. Just in case you're wondering, it is now raining. The rain is coming down heavily. We have a lot of rain at the moment. By the way, I am back with you next Sunday with more of this. We will have another subject, more lovely words and phrases from the English language with me, Mr. Duncan. So I hope you can join me next week. For those who are wondering, next Sunday I am back with you from 2 p.m. UK time. English Addict is live next Sunday from 2 p.m. UK time. I am with you every Sunday, in fact. Thank you very much for your company. I hope you've enjoyed today's live stream. Can I also say or send a message from Mr. Steve? Mr. Steve says, hello, everyone. He's also missing you as well. For those wondering what Steve is doing at the moment he's in the kitchen making jam. I'm not joking. That's what he's doing at the moment. So right now Mr. Steve is in the kitchen making jam. That is what he is doing. See you soon. Take care of yourselves. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday. There are some new lessons coming up as well during the week. Don't forget to look out for them. And of course, until the next time we meet here, you know what's coming next. Yes, you do. Stay happy. Stay safe. Keep that smile upon your face as you walk amongst the human race. And I will see you soon. And of course, ta-ta for now.